Hello, good evening, Success Squad and Facebook. We had a lot of requests from other teams that wanted to join in when they saw who our guest speaker was. So we did a live instead of our regular Zoom. I am Nicole Trigg, and these are the Roths. Renee has been with RevitalU since last year. She's an incredible leader. She's one of our strongest on our team sales industry. He's been doing this 35 years, and I'll let him introduce himself a little bit. But we are so excited for what he has to share with us tonight. Although it's a very different product that he has, it's very similar in the market space and, just overcoming objections, how to get like a prospect in a cold market, how to follow up with them. So very, very similar in what we experience every day. So I thought he would be such a great guest, and he has some amazing things to share with us. So Andy, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. First of all, thanks a lot for having us on here. I think what you guys are doing is unbelievable. And I can't wait to see what comes out in the future. Like Nicole said, my name's Andrew Roth. I'm Renee's husband, and I know you guys are thinking, how did she land him, stuff like that, but we'll get into that at another time. Those of you that were expecting Andy, the other Andy, to speak, I thought about it. I go, there's so many similarities. We're both named Andy. We both played basketball. He's a CEO. I'm not. So I guess that's where it ended. But once again, I've been in sales for probably since 16 years old. With my parents had hotels and we had businesses, and so there was always the ability. I kind of learned the ability to sell, and that's obviously how I landed Renee. So you can tell I'm a very good salesman. So with that, do you want me to get started?
Yeah, go for it. Absolutely.
One thing that I always like to share, and it's something that I put on my office wall, and I kind of want to clarify something. Things that I'm saying tonight, this is stuff that's definitely worked for me, and I'm hoping that people get stuff out of it. They can implement it and take it to the next level. If you've already heard this, then I thank you anyway for listening. One of the things is I always like, I'm not going to put up all the inspirational things. So there's one thing that I have on my wall at work, and it just says, a negative mind will never give you a positive life. So that's something that I look at when I get there in the morning, and I kind of think of it as, you choose joy. You don't, when you wake up, it's your choice. You want to get out there and get working, you can. Something I came across, Nicole, that's awesome is things that require zero talent. These are things that if you come across people that say, I can't, there's no way, it's not me.
I'm not a salesman.
I'm not a salesman. That's why I have her here. Things that require zero talent, just a couple is work ethic, effort, body language, energy, attitude, passion, being coachable, doing extra, and being prepared. And so if somebody says why me? Why how about why not you? I guess is it to me that's a good way to flip it. So after talking to Nicole, there's three things that I was going to talk about that I deal with every day in regards to a sales cycle. I talk with my hands a lot, so
Perfect.
So you have a cold call. I call it a cold call. Then you have a follow-up, and then you have objection handling. In order to get the follow-up, you need to have a cold call to touch somebody, speak with somebody. To have a objection handling, you probably need to have a follow-up. Because I think if you just hand something to somebody, they try it, and you never hear from them again, it's hard to, your mind's going to play games, and you're going to think you know why they're not calling you, but you have no idea. So with that said, going into the cold call, I broke that down into you have complete strangers that you come across, you have referrals, and you have family and friends. So under the complete stranger, I love using my wife as a great example because she's awesome at engaging in a quick conversation with somebody that she just meets. And then she says, hey, here's a sample. Let me know what you think. And it's, I mean, to me, it's almost like Andy showed us when he did the California visit, where he kind of just hands it to somebody and, here. Just the main thing you want to do is make sure you get a phone number or an email, because to make sure, so when it's time to follow up, you have that info, because if you're waiting for them to respond, you probably won't get a response. 9 out of 10.
Just to kind of interject on that, what would be like a good way to get that?
I would just, if I handed you and said, hey, Nicole, would you try this? Let me know what you think. Say, hey, can I get a phone number from you or an email? I'd love to touch base with you and just see what you thought. And what I like, I'm glad you asked that little question, because don't volunteer all the information. Like, don't start. I don't like using the word vomit, but if you start telling them everything about something before they even have a chance to experience it, they could already make that decision right then, saying, oh, I'm, my neighbor says don't do things like this. And, he's not in the business, but he's a baker at the Marriott, but he knows, or whatever. So then the next thing would be the referral. And, to me, if you can name drop as much as possible, because people buy from people, especially if they trust you and they trust the person that referred them. And I know that if it's almost as simple as going, hey, good afternoon, Nicole. Renee Roth told me to come by and say hi, and she wanted me to, she said it's okay to leave this coffee sample with you, or whatever the commodity is, and that's it. You don't even have to go elaborate on it anymore. You just kind of, because she already knows Renee, so she knows Renee wouldn't stir her wrong, which is something that I
feel like that's how we've gotten a lot of brand influencers, just because, well, like with Beth Young, so many people that she talked to totally trusted her morals and what she believes, and knew she's not going to lie to me. So yeah, I think when you are referred by someone that's trustworthy and honest and has a good character, there's nothing more valuable. Exactly.
And then family and friends. And to me, this is I call it easy peasy, because it just, in my field, if it's family and friends, they're going to do it to support me. I think in this business, I think your personal results speak for itself. If somebody sees you and says, hey, Andy, you've dropped, oh my gosh, how much weight have you lost? Oh, I've lost 50 pounds. And they say, how did you do it? To me, that's a no-brainer. You hand them that and it's pretty much sold. Or if it's, boy, Renee, you've got a lot of energy. I remember you last year walking into school, you kind of, not that you were a slug, but you're a little sluggish. Now you have a little, swag. So, and then they find out. Or if you pull up in a new Tesla, people will want to know how'd you do that?
Yeah. How'd you get that car?
Exactly. So that's if you want to ask anything, that's as far as the cold call, the kind of the initial contact. That's something that I do daily. You have to do it. And the neat thing is, if you kind of make it like a game.
I have a question. How many cold calls a day do you do at work?
When I start my morning, I do 30 cold calls. And that's just not call if they're not there, leave a message. I touch 30 people. So we just had our numbers for the month, and I touched 937 people. And it's one of those things that the neat thing is, and I always say this all the time, the person that walks today may buy tomorrow. So you don't ever want to just, if somebody says, we'll get to that, but if somebody just says no and throws it at you, respect their pride, respect what the tone they're setting, I guess, but don't give up on them, because you don't know what they're going through. If that hopefully it makes sense. So then after the cold call.
Did you have any questions?
Yeah. Was there any questions?
Yeah. And say, anybody that, Renee, do you I have a little bit of feedback, I think. Anybody that has any questions throughout, make sure to put them in the comments, and I will ask Andy. I don't think that Renee and him can see it, so just post them, and then I can ask those. So people are just so excited they're on here. Kim Kuza, woohoo! Here we go, ready with pencil.
She has to be. She supports us. She's our friend. No,
yes, that is amazing wisdom. Melody Olson, Kim, hello Kim from Southern Oregon, Barbara Summers, hello, Amy, Melody from Minnesota. We've got Orlando. He just had his executive promotion influencer. Great job on that. Lori Clark, Barbara. Hey Sarah, Beth Young, Becky Graves. All right, people are on and loving it.
Ferlin promoted to executive.
Yes. So he had his influencer get promoted out. Perfect. Well, yeah. So if you guys have any questions throughout, just leave them in the comments, and then we will ask Andy, our sales expert.
Woohoo!
Yes.
Okay, so that's the initial touch. So now this is, I think, probably the toughest for a lot of people is the follow-up, because for whatever reason,
you don't want to feel like you're bothering them.
Exactly. And here's the neat thing.
Or you're afraid to hear a no.
Gotcha. But sometimes no's are great, because a no could, when you dig into it, could be a yes like that. So with the follow-up, you either follow up by text, email, phone, or in person. Personally, if you send a text, hey, Nicole, how was it? I could probably see that you read it, but if you don't respond, my mind's telling me she hates it, she doesn't like it, I don't know what to do, I'm embarrassed. Or same with an email if they don't respond. At least with the phone call or in person, and it's as simple as this. So Nicole, I had given you a sample 24 hours ago, okay? So all I'm going to do is, hey, Nicole, how's everything going? I wanted to follow up regarding the sample I gave you. And then to me, you don't say a word. You just let that person start telling you. They can, and you guys have all heard it. I've heard Renee had calls where, people are like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. And another friend of ours the other day said, I have more energy than I've ever had. And, so those are the things. And to me, you got to act like, oh yeah, of course, we already know that. You don't want to act surprised when somebody says they,
Yeah, you agree. With your own experience also.
Exactly.
I felt the same thing.
So with the follow-up, just reaching out just like I did, hi Nicole, how's it going? How, what did you think? Then this helps you with the objections that are coming. So what I did is I kind of picked out 3 objections that I get all the time, and then one I kind of try to equate it to the coffee.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
So when you're doing a follow-up and you call out of those 30 that you call a day, the cold calls, how often do you follow up with them? Or if you don't hear back from them, how often?
That's a good question. I try to follow up within 24 hours, and the reason why, let's use Andy's visit to California last week. Within the first 24 hours, I guarantee you people were talking, oh, he said this and that and this. When you get to about hour 36, 48, 72, it's kind of like, oh, he said, oh my gosh, I wrote it down. So it's kind of like, I think in that first 24 hours, if you touch them again, then you're not out of sight, out of mind. And they want to work with you. They like you. They feel good that you approached them. Or B, they think you're a stalker, which is a good thing. It's a good thing.
Or C, they forgot.
But you care.
Yeah, exactly. If I say out of line, just kind of mute me.
No, you're good.
But that's, and you always want to, after the follow-up, it's going to lead to the objection handling. And then in the objection handling is when, oh, I'm sorry, did you have any questions at all?
We have a ton that have come in, but you want to finish that one up, and then we'll ask.
You could do it at the very end if that's okay.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay. So because it might be answered in the objection handling.
Okay.
So hi Nicole, how's it going? What'd you think? And Nicole says to me, you know what? I'm way too busy.
Are you talking about the business, to do the business, or to?
I'm just whatever you follow up with.
Oh.
I mean, you might you signed up without trying it. Some people had to research it. Some, I mean, there's probably different. I mean, everybody's experienced different levels.
But if it's a customer to drink the coffee,
I think you have to touch them the same way, whether it's to drink it because it's still going to be a purchase, or if they want to get in the business. And I don't know if that's the right terminology, but so to me, when people say, if Nicole, if you said to me, I'm too busy, then I keep it simple. I just say, oh, okay, I won't keep you. What I like to do is set up a day and a time to meet with you. So are you free Tuesday at 10 or Wednesday at 11? And to me, you give them two options, but you're guiding them to meet, because then other stuff might come out from this. Well, I don't really want to meet with you because I really didn't feel anything. And that's when you get into, oh, what were you expecting to feel? You're trying to take notes, right? You're finding out what they experienced. And it's to me, it's once you get them engaged in a conversation, then you get all the information you need.
You're getting to their truth, like what they're
exactly. So to me, I always do that, Tuesday at 11 or Wednesday at 10. I kind of give them the two options. And if they say, well, just say, what, I'd love to just meet with you. I for my own good. I mean, this is something that I represent. I want to know your what you truly feel about it. And then it puts them in a comfortable position. They're not, okay, you just tell them, hey, there's no pressure. Exactly. You're not pressuring them. You just want to know. The next one is, I'm not interested. And what I like about that one is,
what I like about that one is, if you talk to somebody, especially if it was a referral, and Nicole, you tell me, you know what, Andy, I tried it. I'm not interested. What I love to come back with is, well, you know what, Nicole, that's exactly what Renee said when she first tried it. And I'll tell you what, she's doing unbelievable now. And you kind of just, you turn her answer into a positive with somebody else. Well, and you're just letting them know that they're not the only one that's ever felt like
so good.
But other people have felt the same, but then had to turn around.
Exactly. Yeah. Does that make sense so far?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then another all-time favorite is, can you call me back in 6 months? So I'm sure everybody's experienced that. They've given samples. Somebody tried it, in November, and they want you to call them back in, March or April. So my question is simple. It just says, oh, what's, I just say, what will be changing in 6 months? And let them tell you. It could be, we're moving, we're leaving. I don't know. It's 9 out of 10 times they kind of talk themselves. Like, I don't know why I said 6 months. I mean, hey, if you felt good when you tried it, you see the results. I've showed you 4 pictures of people that have, if weight loss was what you were looking for, if mental clarity, I mean, we have examples. So 6 months from now, this could be a whole different, and that's, I mean, just based on what Andy had said, the way this thing's snowballing, it's going to be, 6 months from now, who knows? It might not, I mean, I'm not going to get into the dollar value because I'm not in that part, but I can see it being a lot different than it is now.
Absolutely. It already from 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And then I kind of go back to the one where the person said, I really didn't like the car. I didn't feel anything. And to me, that's a simple question is, what were you expecting it to do? And I love how Andy put it, that it's a functional beverage. We're not going for taster's choice or, however you refer to it. This is something that has, it's funny. People will take vitamins, go to the GNC, or I shouldn't say any names, go to a vitamin store, purchase stuff, and spend hundreds of dollars. And I know this because I have a friend that is going to try the coffee once what he purchased for $112 that doesn't have, it has 2 of these, like 2, I think it has 2, it's for, supplement or for appetite suppressant and something else. And when I said, I'm not good at math, but for $1.30 a day, I think and he's just like, oh man, I'm a knucklehead. But you don't know those things unless you engage in a conversation. Whether you're, and one other thing I wanted to say is, when you ask somebody a question, wait for the answer. Don't give the answer, because a lot of people will say, "Hey Nicole, how'd you like the coffee? Did it make you feel not hungry? Did you feel like you were losing? Do you feel like you lost weight? Do you feel?" Because to me, then all they can say is, yeah.
I learned a great thing at a Bible study that I went to. One of my friends, when you're a leader of a group in Bible study, a lot of times it's really uncomfortable to ask a question and then wait for people to answer. And as the leader, you really should just zip it and let them share what they've learned. But it's uncomfortable. And what she said to do is count to 10 in your mind. Just be quiet and count to 10 in your mind. And I could totally see that working. Like when you ask them a question, instead of feeling nervous, like they're not answering fast enough or they're not giving a good positive answer, like filling in that space. And we just, like, I think everything that Andy has said to all of those objections is to be interested in them. Like, even if they say, no, I'm not interested, or I want to wait 6 months, like him asking what's going to be different in 6 months is not a pressury, salesy question. It's a question about like, what's going to be changing in your life? Like, what's going on with you guys? And that shows that you care about them and that you're interested in them. And so I feel like that's what all of the answers for the objections were, don't you?
I thank you for bailing me out. I'm trying to think of, and definitely not mentioning names, but I've driven when there's been lives and hear people call and FaceTime my wife and just to hear like, oh gosh, it's just so hard. And I want to jump in there and just say, if you realistically give this 6 months, give it a year, give it 2 years, and know that you did everything in your ability to make it happen. If you put in an hour a day, expect an hour a day results. If you put in 2 hours a day, and
I mean, to me, it's mind blowing to think that he does 30 cold calls a day. Like 30 total strangers a day.
And what's neat is, I mean, I think Nicole, you said the coffee is the number 2 beverage
in the world.
Yeah. So how many people are in the world? I don't want to put you on the spot. There's a lot of zeros after it, but just think of how many people this can benefit.
Yeah.
So kind of in closing on my little thing is, I just want to say the people that I've met so far and I see in this business, it makes me proud because I see, like I keep referring to the California thing because I was fortunate enough to go. You have somebody who dropped 79 pounds.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, oh yeah, this, and I dropped, I lost. I mean, it almost like it was normal conversation where it should be like, what? That's a shock value. And I think that person is going to be so successful because they have a story. That story is it tells itself. And the other thing that I love is that you have housewives, you have people that are professionals, you have coaches, ex-coaches. There's every walk of life, but it comes down, people helping people, and without getting into the business end of it. Hey, try this coffee. If it makes you feel great, I'm here to support you. And if they want to, move further into it, then it's the opportunity is there. And I think I told you I'm a talker.
Go for it. No, we're soaking it up.
Hey, Nicole, the last thing I was going to say is what you and I kind of said is what's neat about this business is it's based on merit, not on seniority. So if somebody's been in it since day one or 2 years or 5 years and you're in it for 8 months, 4 months, it's based on merit. There's no territory, which blows my mind that you could reach out to everybody and I mean, take it to where, I mean, who knows where it takes you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And people that have been in past network marketing, they had all of that, pressure and hype and, always trying to sell the business. And I do love that we can be so customer focused. And even if it's a no for now, even if it's that sample's a no, we genuinely want people's feedback. And because we are a new company, we can express that to them that we are doing market research right now. We want to hear, the good and the bad. And I think it's such a great platform, an advantage that we have, that we are so new as a company, that we can kind of express that to people, because it empowers them to give us their, experience with it, because we genuinely want it. So thank you for all of that. The just how to overcome objections. We always talk about turning objections into, or obstacles into opportunities. And I think that's so great on the follow-up as well. And you have a few questions here. Andy, so much swag. Oh gosh, people are loving Andy.
So that's from Dave Kuza. No, I'm just
probably him and Orlando. Jackie Thompson wants to know, what do you say on your cold call?
Okay, so we're gonna do a different. I mean, mine's a different commodity but it's the same. So when I reach out to somebody, see, here's the difference. You're reaching out to individuals that are possibly your customer. I reach out to people that I need to get a hold of the decision maker. So it's the same concept, but kind of a different level.
So if you had to do it for us, what would you say?
Yeah, so like for me, I did reach out to somebody that's going to sign up Wednesday.
You did.
And here's what I said to him. I just said, hey, it's kind of like, hey, how you doing? You always want to make it personal, and never. I learned one thing: you don't ever up anybody. If I said, hey, Nicole, how's your Honda Accord doing? And you have the LX version, and I have the LX, turbo. I don't want to say, oh, well, I have that same car, but mine's, I'm here and you're here. So I guess without getting off subject, you just ask them, you engage in conversation, find out how they're doing, what they're doing. And then I would just say, hey, Nicole, do you drink coffee? And you would say,
I have to interject. I think I know I can answer this better.
Oh.
Because I know what he said to him. He's getting excited. But when he called him, what he did was he pointed out what this guy's positive characteristics were.
Did I?
That you noticed in him that he is a great salesperson, that he is motivated, that he loves to work out. You pointed out all of those things in him, didn't you? When you called him? Yeah.
And you know what you just reminded me? Sorry about this.
No, this is great.
This is something that's going to help a lot of people. Don't avoid talking to somebody because you think they're not going to be interested or it's not going to be for them. Okay, she's sitting there, and my wife gave samples to two women sitting in a Starbucks drinking their Starbucks.
They noticed my T-shirt said coffee. My T-shirt said coffee and Jesus, and they asked me about my shirt, and so I said,
that meant here's a sample. But if they walk in, they're sitting there with a Chanel purse, and you're thinking, okay, they're loaded, they don't or whatever. Always ask, because you'll be shocked. And you don't want, because if you don't hear, I guess if you don't ask, somebody else will.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be the person that lost opportunity.
So did that answer the question?
Yeah. Did you?
Cold call.
I think my wife shushed me.
No,
No, that what Renee said is.
Say on a cold call?
Affirm them. And I guess it's different between like the business opportunity versus, the coffee. That's going to be a different conversation with a cold call. But I love that about affirming qualities that they have and why you specifically thought of them. Whether they just moved to a new area and that area hasn't been touched by RevitalU yet, or, they have past network marketing experience. Or just a character quality that they're a strong leader, or they've been in sales, or I just love that you would make that so specific for the business. And then as a customer, just kind of what would you say as a a cold call that you asked, do you drink coffee? That's kind of how you'd lead that.
So if I asked you, Nicole, do you drink coffee? And you said, yeah. And I said, oh, how often? Every morning? Oh, wow. Where do you get your coffee? Oh, I go to Starbucks. It's right by the house. And I say, wow, wonder, what does that cost you a month? And if you just play on the pain points and you get them, some people don't realize their pain points till they actually, pain point meaning, if I can save you money and give you something that's going to be more beneficial for you, would it be worth your while? And that, I mean, to me, it's simple. And you don't want to sound scripted because you don't want to sound salesy. You want to sound like a person talking to another person. And wow, you drink, 5 cups a week. Do you drink on the weekends? Oh, you don't. Or if they say, I don't drink coffee. Or do you take any kind of, you look like you work out, or do you go to the gym, and then you talk about the capsules, or, I mean, to me, there's going to be ways, there's doors in if you're willing to ask the question. And it's open-ended, not, I guess, do you drink coffee? Because I'm guiding you into finding out more about you. But if you ask open-ended questions, people will give you more information than you can imagine. And then they'll tell you their brother-in-law and their cousin, their sister, their nephew. There's 5 people that they know right now that could use this. I don't need it right now, but these people do. And oh my gosh, can I reach out to them and just tell them that you told me to call? Then you might, I mean, it's.
Absolutely. So just even if it's a firm no, ask, following up, well, do you know of anybody that could benefit from this?
Exactly. And you know what? When you get to talk to people, they're just not going to say no. They're going to go into the not interested. Oh, you know what? It's not a good time right now. And then that just leaves an opening. Like, oh my gosh, I value your time. You must be a very busy person. What's a better time? And then you put them in that, okay, Tuesdays I'm free. And then you just question ask and base it on that. And then, like Andy said at the California meeting, was, not everybody wants to be a customer. So you respect that and you move on. I have a question for you, Nicole, or for anybody else that's out there. When you go to approach somebody to give them a sample, in your mind, are you wanting somebody to purchase once a month, preferred, or become a BI? I mean, to me, I know my answer. I just want to hear what other people like. What's your agenda?
I probably am not the best one. My answer isn't, because I really do want the person that I'm giving opportunity to take whatever they want for it. So I don't feel like I do have an agenda when I give them a sample. I really just want their feedback. And if being a customer is a good fit for them, I want to offer that opportunity. And if it's becoming a brand influencer, I want to offer that opportunity. So I wouldn't say I have like a set agenda.
Agenda wasn't a good word.
But some people, they lead with the business and they're very successful in that. So I probably am not the best person to ask.
No, I was just curious because to me, if I'm going to approach people, I want people to feel what I feel and to see, to know, yes, drink it, but there is so much opportunity. I don't want you to look back in 6 to 8 months and go, oh man. So I was just curious about that.
Yeah. I mean, there are several on our team that lead with the business only. And because they just understand what the opportunity is. And I do too. But I just want to empower them to make, that decision. So.
I like that. It's not pushy. It's like, hey, try it. Let me know what you think. And if somebody says, I love this, I have to buy this. And my husband hates coffee, and I'm that guy. I mean, I would chug it in orange juice, grape juice. But once the capsules came out, and here's something I'm going to throw out there. I'm putting a challenge out for people that are just doing the capsules or starting to drink this, that are just getting into business. I'm going to drop 50 pounds on the capsules, and I'm going to have Renee post like every 10 pounds.
I love it. We're going to cheer you on each step of the way.
So I'll tell you, since last, was it Thursday? Since last Thursday, I'm down 10 as of today. But I want to be honest. I'm doing the capsules, but I'm eating right. I'm going to the gym. I mean, it's,
Have you found that the capsules have motivated you to do that?
Oh yeah. You know what? I mean, I can eat a light breakfast, take the capsule, and I have to kind of force myself to eat lunch because it's just, I don't want to.
And you don't feel tired.
I don't.
When you get home. Like normally when you get home from work, he's like done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm 51 now. I mean, I'm up. Look what time it is. I'm up this late. But that's. I mean, it's. And now I kind of want to be a motivation, and back to your story kind of thing. If somebody sees you and they see results, it's to me, it's worth the investment to drop, not just for health wise and stuff, but maybe this will help Renee's business go off the charts.
Wow, that's awesome.
Because once she hits 6 figures, I'm quitting.
It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. No doubt about it. Oh gosh, we have tons of more questions. This is so awesome, you guys. Where do you get all of your cold calls from? Like, how do you pick, your market for what you approach that day?
That's a good question. In my business, I call it a vertical market, and vertical could be like in this business, you can say, not touch. That's wrong. Either phone call, email, 30 people.
In lawyers.
Or that are complete strangers that I don't even know. I have 10 samples. I'm going to go out and I'm going to give 10 samples to complete strangers, get their phone number or their email, and see where that goes. And then, believe it or not, those 10 strangers, if you get 20% is a great return. If you get 2 that buy in, that want to do it, and they give you 2 and they give you 2 and what
does vertical mean?
It's just, that's what we call our, like the same like a vertical market to me would be churches, real estate offices, law firms.
And we have talked about that. I know Nicole has given us challenges like how many teachers can you reach today?
Or how many nurses, like nurses that work night shift, that's a gold mine.
Or security guards.
Or security, or that's that could be something to I call it a blitz. But if you say, hey, for the next 2 weeks, I want to see how many people in the medical field you can touch, and then whatever it is, whatever the contest is, because you start getting into that, and then they go, oh, you should call my aunt, she works for the phone company, or it's such a domino effect.
I love that. Yeah, just something simple, and when you're first starting, just to see like what areas could RevitalU hit. Well, it's a great pre-workout, so maybe that means that you hit the gym 1 week. Like you said, nurses, they are working those shifts. I've heard that they have terrible coffee, and everybody's always bringing them sweets and like really fun goodies, and so it's really hard for them to resist cravings. So that, like you said, teachers getting back to school. And we can do that with not only sampling, but also our posts. So like, just highlighting a feature of RevitalU so that our posting is just different and fresh, and it will reach people that, maybe the weight loss or the mental clarity wasn't really touching on. So I love that. We've kind of done that as a team a little bit this last couple of weeks, like challenges. Just look through your Christmas card list. Look through, every time that you look through your contacts, you will find somebody else. So that's just so great, that reaching all of those different, markets and areas. Just when you think that you've run out of contacts, if you look again, you will find, many. So let's see. Renee, do you hand people 3 sample sticks or just 1?
So I do 3 now. I used to only do 2, but I think that was when I was still making my own. I used to only do 2, and the only reason I did that was because when Katie did give me a 3-day sample, and she had made them herself, but I knew the very first day. And I feel like pretty much everyone that has bought from me knows the very first day. But the reason I give 3 now is because for one, I love how professional the actual brochures look. There's 3 spots, so I'm not going to only put 2. Also, if they know in the first day and they want to order it right away, then I might say, if you want to share one of those, feel free to share one and let me know what they think, or, just give them my information. So I always do 3 now.
Hey, Nicole, to add to that, and the reason why I said follow up in 24 hours, knowing if somebody has a 3-day sample and they're going to try it for 3 days, to me, if you reach out after the first day, you could remind them. They could go, oh my gosh, they're in my purse and I haven't even tried it yet. So this way you're not sitting there waiting 3 days, and then in 3 days you remind them, and then it's 3 more days and 3 more. The other thing is, somebody tries one time and you don't follow up, and you go, hey, you know what? How did it go? Did you try all 3? Oh no, I tried 1 and I was so jittery. I was shaking. And my question to that objection would be, can you do me a favor? I know you have 2 samples left. Will you try just half of the next one? Do it at a different time than you did the other one. You don't want to give up and just say, oh, okay, sorry, it didn't work for you. You want to say, hey, what did you do that didn't?
Maybe you didn't eat breakfast.
Yeah, or we have a buddy who put it in a double shot of coffee. Oh, yeah. So
he thought he was supposed to mix it in his coffee, and he thought he was going to have. So.
But he's out of jail now. Everything's fine. He's doing good. But just so don't. On that note, don't give up. Always follow up. Even if you're following up, they haven't tried it. Always, even if you're just reminding them.
Oh, and I do want to say one thing though. I don't know who asked that question, but someone at our meeting said, I'm sorry, there's a glare on here, but I can't see you now. She was saying, I don't have a lot of samples. And Andy made a great point and said, if you only have 1 sample to give someone, give it to them. Give it to them and let them know, I only have 1 left. I want you to have it. You take it. When I get more, I'll get more to you. But if you can only give 1 sample, then you give 1 sample. So I give 3 now, but who am I? You do what you do. You do what you are able to do, and it'll be a blessing to someone for sure.
Absolutely.
How do you approach follow-up with people that you have sampled? Do you do a 24-hour even on the second? Marisol, I'm so sorry. I can't see that comment.
So if I get it right, she's saying she gives a sample, she follows up, and they say they're going to try the second sample. Do you follow up again?
Yeah, I think that's what she's asking.
Yeah, I think at that point, what I would do is I've already made the initial contact to give you the product. Your sample, you tried it. I'm following up to say, what did you feel? And I would say, I think I would just say, hey, you know what? I'll call you in a few days. Like on the second time, I said, I'll give you, today's Tuesday. Try this in the morning, your second sample, and I'll follow up with you on Thursday. I want to know how you felt. Maybe the second one, like Andy said, some of this stuff takes, there's some products out there that take 7 days to get in your system.
14.
So if you get people that react after 1 try or the 2 tries, to me, that's a win-win. And you don't let it go. Try the 3rd sample. If somebody says, I'm going to try the 3rd sample in a week from now, I wouldn't let it get that far. I would just say, you loved how you felt after the first one and after the second. So especially with the money back guarantee, that sells itself.
Oh, definitely. And the consistency, because really you have to take it 14 consistent days to reset your metabolism. So if we're doing our correct follow-up, they can still have that consistency with their sample, into their tub.
Exactly.
And I love what you said too, when you just set up kind of the expectation of when you're going to call there creates, it's not desperation, but it creates like an urgency for them to follow through with, with the expectation that you put on that. So I love that. What do you do when they say that they love it, but then they still never order?
Okay, so if you role play with me, okay, so hey Nicole, you tried it. What did you think of it?
Oh my gosh, I loved it. Oh, I had like amazing, just like a clear, constant energy, but I didn't crash like I usually do with like other supplements.
Oh, that's awesome. So are you, I'm sorry, I forgot the.
So what she's saying is that if you got that response and now it's been a week and she still hasn't gone back
Okay,
and ordered.
so I said,
would you order again?
Oh yeah, I would reach out because this is an item that is, I mean, and I know it doesn't, I mean, like for mine, I get humbled at work when people go, your commodity that you're selling, it's not on my mind 24 hours a day. I mean, I'm sorry to tell you, I have kids going to school. I have, we have this, and this. And a lot of people, you're going to find out once you follow up and they loved it, they might be waiting for you to follow up because they might, I call it next steps. So if you don't guide them to the next step, they don't know what the next step is. Or they might go online and say, oh, I tried this, and then they order it and someone else might get which is another thing that you want to kind of control your environment, not to be a hater, but to be, I gave out the sample. I should follow up. I should give them next steps, and I should be able to close this. I'm not trying to sound salesy, but once you give a sample.
I do have some.
Yeah.
So I think what I would do is call or text or message in Facebook and say how glad I am that they loved it so much and they love the energy or whatever, the appetite suppressant, whatever they loved about it. And if they need any help, because like you said, people are busy and we are able to help them place an order. If you need any help, I'm more than happy to place that order for you. You can just send me your information or give me a call and I would love to do that for you. I know you're so busy. And sometimes they'll say like, oh my gosh, I thought I already did that. I thought I placed it. Some people actually do think they've placed the order and they haven't completed the order and they think their coffee's on the way. Oh. And it's not on the way. So it's just good to follow up because like what you said earlier, if you just send a text and then you're just imagining they don't want it, they're not going to do it. But really, maybe that's not what it is at all.
Yeah, they could have lost their phone or whatever.
Yeah, it's so easy to take it personally, but we are so busy. If we put, and that's where we put kind of the mindset back into the customer and what they're going through. We go right back to that mindset. People are busy. And I love what Renee said about placing the order for them. I do that for a lot of my customers. And if you have sent them a digital sample, you have their email address, you have their mailing address. Really all you need is to have their credit card for payment and to see if that matches their address that they got their sample. And
also that goes for your customers right now too. If you have monthly customers and all of a sudden that month, so I keep track of my monthly customers in a little book. And so I know that Nicole's order is going to go through on the 4th of September. And then when I see on the 5th, it did not go through, then I'm going to message her right away that next day and say, hey, Nicole, I just noticed your order didn't process yesterday when it normally would have. And I want to make sure that's not our mistake. And so many times I have had people say like, oh, my card got compromised and I need to change the card information. Or I had to pause it because we'd been on vacation for 4 weeks and I still have 2 tubs. So then I know, it's not that they don't want the coffee. It's this reason or it's this reason. And then if it's their card, I just did it for a teacher today. Her card was compromised. It was an old card information on her account. And I said, I know you're so busy. Do you want me to go in and change that for you? And she texted me the picture of the front of her card, the back of her card, and said, just delete it when you're done. And I was more than happy to do that for her. She's so busy. She's teaching all day. She acts in a theater at night. She has no time for that. So I would say even not just with prospects, but with your own customers, follow up with them, like keep track of them and follow up with them. And that means a lot to them for you to say, I notice you, like I see you, I notice you, and I want to fix it if it's our fault.
Love that, Renee. That's why you're so good at what you do. You're amazing at that. Let's see. Kim Kuza says that when they say that they want to place the order, she sends them a become a customer link. You can do that right from your app. And it's just a quick link. You know, it's so nice with Messenger or text. When you do that link, it actually pulls up with a link to that link, and it's just a click through. So I love that, Kim.
Hey, Nicole, what Andy talked about in the California kind of, I keep referring to that, is it all common knowledge? Is everything what he said common knowledge?
No.
Okay.
Not, I wouldn't say all of it. I
Okay.
mean, it was on a live. Like,
because there was one thing that he addressed that kind of handles all this, but yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I'm going to act like I'm frozen.
Okay. Somebody ask a comment. Somebody ask a question. Oh gosh. How many times do you reach out to them when, it kind of goes ignored sometimes? Like, when do you just move on?
What I do is if I called you to follow up and I sent you an email, let's say I tried to call you, left a voicemail. My voicemail would be something like, "Hey, Nicole, this is Andy. I just wanted to follow up and see what you thought about the sample that I gave you." And then, end it there, leave it short. Because once people leave you messages and it's over, I think it's so many seconds, people just delete or go to the next. They don't want to hear. So you kind of, you leave it at that.
How many times?
Well, that's what I was going to get at. If you don't, to me, I call till I touch the person, till I actually talk to them. Because I don't, if they lost their phone, they left their phone, they're not checking their emails, and they go, "Oh my gosh, I was waiting for you to call me because I was trying to get a hold of you because I definitely want to move forward," and you're getting frustrated because
they're not answering.
If you would have just left a text and they never responded, and then 6 months from now, there's one thing that I would say that could be implemented in this that could help people that have a lot of people that they've touched is kind of, get a folder that might be by month and or even by month and then by week of the month. So first week of the month, you touch 30 people or 15 samples. And then you can put a thing on there, a note that just says, left message on voicemail, or talk to their son, they're out of town till the 5th. And then to me, keep this file, and you can always work the file. So I call it's kind of like a pipeline. So you always want to have people to call, contact, touch. If you get to the point where you go, well, I've given out all my samples and I have nobody to call, you're probably not going to get very far.
Going to come to a screeching halt.
Exactly. Or you're going to say, wow, I wish my downline would get 50 more people or 100 people or 500. I'm not saying that it's an encouragement to want people to grow like you are, but if you're putting the pressure on everybody else and you're not doing it, that's where I think the based on merit comes in. I say you got to pay to play kind of thing to move forward. You got to keep being active. And I'm sure you hear that all the time.
So when you're going into an example.
Yeah, so to answer the question, sorry about that, would just be I would keep reaching out until I got an actual answer that said no, call me back in 6 months. Then I would go to the question of what's in 6, then it opens the door for communication. It could be somebody embarrassed saying, I only have $46 or I have $100, but I'd love to do this. And then there might be ways, I love how Andy said, hey, if I was offering you a new car for $400, I bet you'd find it.
The value in that. Do you ever do like a takeaway? Like Andy talks about sometimes asking for the sample back if you've followed up and they're just not trying it. I've done that, not really on purpose, but I literally needed more samples and I ran out, and so I had to start asking for the people that never tried it, and that I had to ask for it back, and it was so interesting because they would say, no, like I really do want to try it. I just, I'm waiting for like to get done on a cleanse, or, we take things so personal, but they just had something going on in their life. But do you ever do like a takeaway, like a
Me?
either one?
Yeah, I mean, I've read, I don't say the word propose. Oh, one thing I was going to say is just, and I'll go back on track. If you're talking to somebody, never bring up the word concern. Like I learned something. I always would say, oh, if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. If you say I'd love to hear questions or concerns is kind of opening the door for negative, to where you don't, oh no, comments to, if you have a comment, to you and I, it's a concern, but you don't kind of address it that way. You keep it as a positive, we're here to help. It's, friends helping friends kind of thing. But I mean, I've proposed to people that have said, you see, my business is different. I mean, I wouldn't never like take something from them, because then it's called stealing.
You have had where there are specials that are going, and you will say to them, like, this is only available for 2 more days.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want it, great. And if you don't, it won't be available to you in 2 days.
But I love what Nicole said about if you actually go to somebody and say, hey, Renee, have you been able to try any of these samples? No, you know what, to be honest with you, I'm not sure. Okay, do you mind if I take them back? Because I've got about 30 people, and I've got to try to get these 3 samples to these 30. I mean, if you show
30 cold calls in the morning.
Yeah, if you show value to that, they might say, well, hold on.
Yeah.
No, I'll try it. And that could be a great
yeah, that is a great point. This is not about coffee, but I went to a thrift store in Colorado, and I saw my leather handbag that I love. Everyone that knows me has seen this handbag, and I always tell the story, but I looked at it and I thought, that is really a nice bag. And it was $20. And I thought, at a thrift store, I don't know. I don't want to pay $20. And I saw another girl walk by and look at the bag, and I could not have walked faster.
It has value now.
Yes. And as soon as I thought someone else is going to want that bag, oh, that's my bag.
Yes.
So I think the same with the samples. When we let them know there are a lot of people that are waiting for samples, and you've got one, it might give it value, like that leather handbag.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Absolutely.
Is that 90 comments?
Yes, my friend. Yes. You guys are awesome. Well, we probably should wrap it up. Is there any like closing things that you kind of wanted to share with us? This has been incredible.
Well, I honestly just, you have to believe in yourself. Know that, have a story, tell your story, and don't assume that you know what people are thinking. I mean, always give them just ask questions. I say it all the time because I get drilled that every day. And once you start doing it, and back to the questions, if you think in your head while you're talking to somebody who, what, where, when, why, and how, don't say it out loud, because that's kind of rude when they're talking to you. But if they're saying, Andy, I'd love to get in this, but it's too expensive. And I would say to them, when you say expensive, what's expensive? Because I want to know, because expensive to you could be $500. Expensive to someone else is $40. So you definitely want to know where they stand.
And I think I would just say, like Andy said, believe in yourself, but I totally get what he's saying. But I think for me, like one of the things he said was there's so many different types of people doing this, and we're all so different. And for me, it's not even believing in myself. It's just believing that God would put me in a place to do this. And if he's going to put me in this place, then he's going to equip me to do it. And so,
that's what I meant.
I know that's what you meant. So there's all those little sayings that say she believed she could, so she did. And there's another one out there, and I'm not going to get the wording right, but she believed she couldn't, so God did. And I think that if we are willing to give him the credit, then he is going to equip us for whatever we need.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Amen. Yes. Well, thank you guys so much. This was incredible. I feel like this was just power packed with really practical things that we can do. And so thank you for just sharing that with us, and all of those years of objection and turning them into opportunity and success, and for just sharing that with us. So thank you guys, and I will post
for everything that you do for all of us. We are so thankful.
I am so happy to. I'm so happy to. All right. Well, this will be saved for anybody that wants to just tag a team member that you thought of, and I'll also put it on our YouTube channel. So thank you guys, and have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.